What are we doing here? Testimonies? Testimonies of these really, fishy peddlers. Right. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. Okay. What we witness.
We saw the whole thing, including the bit where the two of them enter the apartment building. The Grim Reaper entered the building, and not a minute later, we heard a bang. Those with loose lips are also light on their feet. The gossip lover rushed to the crime scene. Inside the room were the Grim Reaper, a pistol dangling from his hand, and the body lying there. Believe me, I got so scared and ran to call a beat officer.
This Espella design characters is like really fishy. You saw the whole thing. In that case, the two you saw go into the apartment building were the victim, Detective Gregson, and the defendant, Baroque Van Zeeks.
I recognized the Grim Reaper from the sketches in the newspaper, so I knew it was him. This topic has been selling like mad. Old gossip here has coins raining down on him.
But it's an apartment building. That means it's possible that one of the other tenants could have committed the apartment building on Fresno Street is full of mainly vacant rooms.
After all, it's in bad shape. The rooms are small and dirty and the rent's pretty high. Considering.
The only room in the apartment building with a tenant is the room of the crime scene.
As I recall, the tenant's name was Hugh Boone. True. As far as I can tell from this testimony, it seems to be sufficiently proven. Which means that it's incredibly difficult to imagine that the murder was committed by anyone but the defendant.
God damn it. Thank you for your understanding.
Now then, defense. Your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. The judge is solely responsible for the verdict in a top-secret trial like this. I have to find some way to break down this testimony. I don't know, right? He's such a gentleman. We saw the whole thing, including the bit where the two of them entered the apartment. When you say the two of them, do you mean Detective Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks?
Probably. I can't say I know him by name.
Oh, come on, you should at least know Van Zeeks.
At the very least, the one who entered last was that Grim Reaper chap.
Did they enter the apartment building together?
No, you got it all wrong. The bloke who went in first got there about 15 minutes before we heard the gunshot, I reckon.
The victim arrives 15 minutes before? You sure of that?
Oh, I am. After all, who could forget that eye-catching red hair of his? Ain't that right, everyone?
That's true. His hair was redder than my fireworks.
The blazing red hair of his is still seared into the undersides of my eyelids.
Just a moment, please. Red hair?
That's right. And I think he was carrying a big trunk.
There's no way anyone could ever mistake Gregson Summer's hair for being red. Perhaps the person you saw was not Detective Gregson, but a third person. Unfortunately for you, that red-headed man was Detective Gregson.
Huh?
I have here a photo of the victim taken at the crime scene. Oh, that's a great scene. This is Detective Gregson. This red hair. Perhaps it's a wig? Come to think of it, there was a red-haired wig lying at the crime scene. I would never have imagined that Detective Gregson was the one who worn it. What on earth could this mean?
Now that I look at it, perhaps red hair wasn't a bad look for him. In any case, the court accepts that photo into evidence.
Crime scene photo. A photo of Detective Gregson, the victim. He's curled up on his side wearing a bright red wig. Incidentally, what happened to the trunk the red-haired victim was said to have been carrying? Apparently, it wasn't found at the crime scene. So the trunk vanished.
Well, it's not like we was watching the apartment building the whole time. But I saw the Grim Reaper sneak into that building.
Inside the room, the Grim Reaper was a pistol dangling from his hand and the body lying there. So then, the first one to arrive at the scene of the crime was you?
Now, right. I gallantly kicked open the door and shouted, "What's all this?"
Well, something.
So yeah.
According to Van Zeek-sama, he heard a man scream. By the way, was the room dark at the time?
No, not at all. The candle on the wall was blazing like mad.
Huh?
There was enough light to reveal the man lying on the floor. That's for sure. When I burst into the room, that was the first thing my eyes were drawn into.
This is too convenient. This testimony is too convenient. I see. I wonder why Lord Van Zeeks didn't see that light.
And then, the next thing I knew, I could sense someone standing next to the body.
And that was the defendant, Baroque Van Zeeks.
That's right. It was that pallid-faced Grim Reaper. Well, I guess it startled me a little, but I'm a man, see? So I held me ground and glared right at that Grim Reaper.
Is everything alright, Sandwich-san? Sandwich-san! Sandwich! Sandwich! I can't. This is. How am I gonna read? I'm not gonna be able to read his. I'm not gonna be able to read his name with a straight face.
My head is empty, and so, therefore, my head is empty. What can one do for such folks?
Did you recall something just now? While listening to Gossip-san's testimony just now, I mean?
Just how foolish and insignificant a being is man. No matter how we try to gussy ourselves up, we're still naught but simple peddlers. Well, that's enough, Sandwich. Just keep your gob shut, yeah? Unless you want to become an actual sandwich. The moment he laid eyes on the Grim Reaper, he was falling all over himself with fear.
Falling all over himself?
Oi, shut up! I told you not to tell anyone that! He gave a piercing shriek and fell on his hands and knees. That's all I wanted to say.
Gossip-san, is that true?
Well, the floor was awfully slippery there, I'll have you know. Then I accidentally put my hand in a puddle of blood. It was bloody awful.
What? A puddle of blood?
Yeah. Well, until the very last moment when I landed on the floor. I kept on glaring at the Grim Reaper. That's all I wanted to say.
Just a moment, please. You got blood on your hand?
Sure did. I reckon everyone has days like that once in a while, right?
No! No one does! No one innocent!
Where you get scared and scrape your hand on the floor. But it ain't worth getting worked up over.
That's not what you said, though. Gossip-san, Would you mind adding that statement to your testimony?
Well, sure, but... In that case, witness, add that statement to your testimony. I slipped and got blood on my hand, and then I actually smeared it on the floor.
There are indeed case records from many different years hung up here. The paper this 10-year-old investigation report was written on has gone yellow. By the way, the most recent item on this board is this newspaper ad. The ad for the Red-Headed League. Holmes-san read this too, didn't he? Come to think of it, there was a red wig lying on the floor at the crime scene. I wonder if he tried to join the Red-Headed League. This is... Naruhodō-sama! Look at this! This smear mark. It's obviously a handprint, isn't it? Not only that, but this color. It's obviously blood, isn't it? Oh, it's rather frightening to behold. Bulletin board. There's a bloody handprint on the backside. On the floor, you said, my friend. So you smeared your bloody head on the floor at the crime scene. You're sure about that?
I mean, what choice did I have?
The police examined the floor at the crime scene, but they discovered no bloody handprints. The defense's claim is... The defense hasn't made its claim yet, Asogi. Please shut up. It's true that there was no bloody handprint. Not on the floor, anyway. What do you mean, not on the floor? There was one clear bloody handprint, left at the crime scene. On the back of this bulletin board.
You're right. There's a bloody handprint there. I'll say, that's most definitely my beloved right hand. Red hand?
I mean, his hand was probably red, but... This witness clearly testified that he touched the floor. The blood on the bulletin board has nothing to do with this case. Suppose this bulletin board had been tipped over on the floor. If that were the case, then it would have been possible for him to have left this handprint there. In that case, you'd best take a look at this diagram of the crime scene. The bulletin board was standing near the door. I received no information about it having been tipped over. Besides, let's say for the sake of argument that it had been tipped over. It would have been quite a ways from where the body was lying.
When I found the body, me legs gave out on me right there and then. See? So the location of all this was somewhere that made me feel like, blimey, there's a dead body right in front of me.
Okay, gossip. Which means that there's a contradiction in the defense's claim. Exactly. What? The situation at the crime scene doesn't add up. There must be some reason for that.
It appears that the defense has something in mind. Regarding the contradiction, as to the bloody handprint the witness supposedly left behind.
Yes, Your Honor. Man, I don't have any popcorn for this. The bloody handprint, the bulletin board, and the floor at the crime scene. The answer that clears up all these contradictions is, there was another bloody handprint somewhere else, the bulletin board was moved, there's a lie in the testimony. You know what, I'm pretty sure there's a lie, but, the bulletin board was moved? This handprint on the bulletin board. That in and of itself, it's contradictory. The position of the handprint, compared to how the hand that placed it there should have been, let me read that sentence again. The position of the handprint, compared to how the hand that placed it there should have been, is upside down.
You're right. If he touched his hand on the board while it was upright, then the finger should be pointing upwards.
What does this mean? There's only one explanation. When this handprint was placed, the bulletin board was tipped over. In other words, after the murder, the bulletin board was moved. What? If someone moved the bulletin board after the murder, who was it then? I don't know yet, but if you think about all the testimony we've heard so far, one thing becomes clear.
And what might that be?
The location of the bulletin board at the time of the murder. Oh! Oh, he's putting his hands on his hips! Because he doesn't have karma anymore, so he has a new pose, like I was talking about earlier. He puts his hands on his hips. Oh, bliss!
In that case, the court asked the defense pointed out.
I need a screenshot of that and somehow get it without the text box. Yes, sassy Naruhodō.
Where was the bulletin board at the time of the murder?
It could only have been right here.
Right next to the door on the other side?
Please recall the testimony the previous witness gave. He said that when he entered the room, it was dim, and he couldn't see the body.
So that's it.
If the bulletin board had been there, then it would have hidden the body from view. It also would have blocked out the light from the candle holder at the back of the room and caused the room to look dim. But the defendant said that the body suddenly appeared before him. Yes. To be precise, he testified the following. When I picked up the pistol, the door burst open violently, and I heard a man scream. The next thing I knew, Detective Gregson's body was lying before me.
I'm not sure I care for the use of the word scream, but I suppose he was talking about me. I was the one who kicked that door open, after all.
Now, please take another look at this diagram. If the room had been arranged like this, what would have happened if the door had burst open violently? The door hit the bulletin board and tipped it over, revealing the hidden body.
My God.
Lord Van Zieks hasn't told a single lie. He only testified about what he saw, exactly as he saw it. Ugh. Hey! What? One damage, yes! Take that, Osogi. As I get water.
So that means...
After the murder, someone must have moved the bulletin board to the location that we and the police saw it in.
Well, witnesses. What? You're looking at us?
You were the first ones to arrive at the crime scene. It stands to reason that you must know something about that bulletin board. Hey, thanks!
The court requests further testimony. By which I obviously mean that about your actions at the crime scene.
Ugh.
Alright already.
You don't have to glare at us. Fishy people are fishy. Excuse me. I need to get up for 1 second and grab something. The mystery of the moving bulletin board. And then suddenly the music picked up. Okay.
Look, I don't know nothing about no bulletin board. All I did was put my hand down. I don't know anything about it either. I was just talking business with a few second years. In spite of who I am, I can't say that I know either. All I did was stand perfectly still. That's probably the Grim Reaper chap, right? With a face like that, I bet he's all about bulletin boards.
What?
Either way, the fact that the detective died the moment that gunshot rang out won't change.
What the heck? What are these testimonies? What am I supposed to pull from this?
So no one knows.
A murder that just occurred right in front of them, and the only light in the room came from the candles and the small lamp. I believe it's reasonable that they aren't entirely sure what happened at the crime scene.
That's right. I don't think you can expect the impossible from us. Humanity's pitiful desire to know everything will bring the world to ruin.
Right. Besides, as the witness just stated, even if someone had tried to move the bulletin board at the crime scene, there was only one person at the crime scene when the gunshot rang out, and that was the defendant. Which means that the only one who could have possibly murdered the victim was Baroque Van Zieks. It has no bearings on that fact. Oh, it has no bearings on these facts? It has no bearings on that fact? On these facts? On these facts? Question mark? Is that what we were trying to do in there?
That's true. Do you still wish to conduct a cross-examination?
Of course.
In that case, proceed, defense.
I mean, if we said no, this game would be over by now. And I don't want it to end. It's too good. I don't know anything about it. I was talking business with a few second years. I'm sure you have. When you say talking business, you mean fireworks.
Yep. There's a place nearby called Prairie Military Preparatory School, see? And the naughty little ones there all want to blow up this school.
I see.
So I go to that school secretly to tattle on them to the teachers.
Wow! This lady is savage! Tattle?
The student in that house was playing with a bad toy, and so on. And when that happens, the teachers confiscate all the fireworks the student bought. Which causes the kids to come to me again to buy some more. See?
Holy crap, she's savage! Holy crap! What trickery is this?
And sometimes the teachers bring me a bit of a reward money. How can I bring myself to stop selling my fireworks? You certainly are a very shrewd one. I'm good at telling outrageous lies while maintaining a straight face, see?
May I, Sandwich-san?
If I say, no, you may not, will you simply say, oh, okay, and drop the matter?
No? You seem to be deep in thought after hearing Vina-san's Vina-san's testimony.
I was just thinking about it in terms of a philosophical proposition.
Huh?
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that there was an incredibly outrageous liar here. And let's suppose that this person, who was able to tell naught but lies with a straight face, said this: I'm good at telling outrageous lies while maintaining a straight face, see? Would those words from the liar's mouth be true or another lie? Quite the paradox, don't you agree?
I don't really understand, but ultimately, is this big liar you're talking about Vina-san? I mean, he's looking over there.
I'll get upset if you don't stop saying weird things, old man. If you don't, I'll wrap all my fireworks around you and light them.
Oh my god, this woman!
You say some pretty terrifying things, what with that cute face of yours.
Sorry, I'm changing something on the script. In any case, Vina-san's testimony contained a lie. Is that what you're saying? Someone just take away her fireworks!
Well, I spoke up prepared to roast in the fires of hell. So, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Could you give us a little more detail, sir? Sorry, I need to like check on something really quick because I need to make a phone call. Alright, where was I? And then I get another phone call. Why? No! I started early and now I'm getting phone calls. Stop! Okay, it stopped. Never mind. It was butt dialing, I guess. No, stop. Let me do this, damn it!
That day, the bloke with the lip ran towards the room where the gunshot had rang out, but a certain someone had snuck up the stairs of the building after him. As you may have guessed, it was that big fat liar there.
Let me guess. She set off her fireworks behind him that led him to scream, and I'm pretty sure the gunshot that Baroque heard was actually the fireworks. I think I just worked this out. This little witch right here. Gregson must have been killed at a different time.
So then, this girl also headed for the crime scene, to the victim's flat? Well, yeah, I told you, didn't I? I'm good at telling outrageous lies with a straight face.
You've gotta be kidding me.
It seems that just now, an incredible bomb was just dropped on this courtroom.
It was actually just a bunch of fireworks, though.
No, when you went to the crime scene. So you went to the crime scene, is that correct? Well, when you put it like that, I guess I did. I remember it quite clearly.
Now the question is, how am I going to get to that point of proving that the gunshot was actually the fireworks, and Gregson probably had been killed at a different time, and maybe not in the same location. I don't know yet. If you remember it clearly, then there's no I guess about it.
In any case, your punishment will be decided later. For now, we need you to testify, and truthfully at that. Yes, sir.
Oh my god, this woman.
I followed the old gossip guy. I guess I just wanted to have a little peek for myself.
Cake is a lie? Are you really that big a liar?
I'm not really sure myself, but maybe it's best to take the things I say with general grains of salt.
This witch! So then, did you go to the crime scene that day?
Of course not! That would have been way too scary.
Oh my god. Asogi, let me borrow one of your swords. But truthfully.
I just poked my head in. See, I'm at that age where I just want to know everything.
Oh my god. So, you didn't touch anything at the crime scene, did you?
I would never! There was a dead body lying right next to me, remember?
But truthfully.
Well, maybe just a little. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything I could sell. So I turned the place over. But really, just a little. Got that?
I'm really hoping I'm wrong here, but you didn't happen to move the bulletin board that was at the crime scene, did you?
What? I've never carried anything heavier than some pocket change.
But truthfully, I like how Asogi is the one trying to get her to talk the truth. It's great.
Well, I thought maybe there might be something valuable under that bulletin board, so I did my best to move it. With a heave-ho!
This trial is a circus. So then, you... Are you saying you moved the bulletin board then?
That's what I'm saying. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Foolish girl.
So, did you find anything? Anything you could sell?
What? Are you kidding me? As if I'd managed to find something so...
But truthfully... He's just like not even letting her finish now. Oh my god. Please end her, Asogi.
I found this rubbishly old watch. It was lying under the bulletin board. But if you ask me, this piece of junk...
Gina.
So, you were the one who took it!
Gina-san.
Now, see here, you can't just take the stand whenever it suits you.
That watch was a memorial present to my boss from the yard for solving that case 10 years ago. The case in question was likely the professor's incident. The boss had a habit of winding that watch every night as he ate dinner at the pub. Is that so? One time I nicked it from his pocket, and the boss nearly had a fit. For 10 years, every single day, once a day, he'd wind it and polish it up nice. He said the only thing he treasured more than that watch was his life. And that's what you chose to pickpocket from him?
Oh, but I don't think this is that great of a watch. I brought it to Jazbear's secondhand shop right away that night, but he wouldn't buy it from me. It's old and broken after all.
Ooh, I knew I should have nicked it from him. What is going on? In any case, I'm going to need you to submit that watch right away.
Oh, you better give it back later.
And the moment you do, I'll nick it from her.
Never mind that. Just hand it over.
Children, please. Bless that line! I feel the same way, Naruhodō. Excuse me.
This watch seems to have had its glass broken.
It was likely broken when Detective Gregson was shot.
Apparently, that watch doesn't work. That's why Jabez wouldn't buy it from me. Indeed. The watch hen is stopped at 5 o'clock.
That's exactly when the gunshot rang out the crime scene.
Perhaps that means it was broken because it was struck by the bullet?
Gregson's watch. Detective Gregson's wound wound this watch every day without fail. The glass is broken and it stopped working.
In any case, it seems that we've solved the mystery of the moving bulletin board.
Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to have real significance. Ugh. I can't stop laughing at this.
I suppose it's time to return to the cross-examination.
Yes. Maybe. I don't even know anymore. I don't know what's going on anymore. The glass face has been mercilessly cracked, hasn't it?
It sounds as though he really loved this watch. What a shame.
I bet Homesan could fix it up real nice again.
I bet you're right.
He's skilled with his hands and good at a lot of things, so he's useful to have around.
Please refrain that from treating the great detective like your errand boy.
Hey, he treats Naruhodō as an errand boy. I'm allowed. There's a small piece of broken metal poking up out of this little hole.
It's likely the stem, which is used for setting the time.
Sounded like Detective Grayson really treasured this watch, so... It was probably during the murder that it broke.
You're probably right. In which case...
Maybe this broken bit was lying around the crime scene? What? What? Oh! Oh! Does the key that we found on that soldier figurine go in here? Is that what it is? Huh? It looks like there's a keyhole here.
It's probably the key that allows the stem to be wound.
How should I put this? It's got a kind of a unique shape to it, doesn't it?
We should be able to wind the stem if we just had the key that fits the keyhole.
Why do I get the feeling I've seen one recently? A key that would fit this keyhole perfectly, I mean.
If we do have the key, then maybe we should try examining it one more time.
Look at this, Susato-san. This key kind of looks like it might fit the keyhole in Detective Gregson's watch.
You're right. Now, Naruhodō-sama, hurry. Let's try it.
I was right. It's a perfect fit.
Look! Gregson-sama's watch is working again.
It looks like it just needed to be wound. What's wrong, Susato-san?
The watch wasn't broken, and that might just indicate a very important fact.
Sounds like Susato-san's completely thought this through. Better try to do the same. When we wound it, it started working. This statement should say either way the fact the detective died the moment the gunshot rang out won't change, so... Oh, wrong statement. Okay. Why can't I present the watch now? I have to present a statement to Sandwich, but it's on the wrong statement, so let's see. I'm glad I saved. I'm like, the statement then? Boom. Thumbs up. You can't claim that with certainty anymore. This watch winding key was found at the crime scene. Did you say a key? When we wound the watch, it started working again. The reason the watch stopped wasn't because it was damaged. And that fact is significant enough to overturn one of the major premises of the prosecution's case. What?
Order! 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 But this watch had definitely stopped at 5 o'clock. And that's right when we heard the gunshot, remember? That's the time we heard it at, all right.
The time the hands were indicating was only the time that it needed to be wound again. The fact that it happened to be 5 o'clock was likely just a coincidence. Even if that were the case, the witnesses heard the gunshot ring out from the crime scene at 5 p.m. It's only natural to assume that's when the murder occurred. However, that wasn't the case. Why not? Inspector Lestrade previously testified the following. The boss had a habit of winding that watch every night as he ate dinner at the pub. One time I nicked it from his pocket, and the boss nearly had a fit. For 10 years, every single day, once a day, he'd wind it and polish it up nice. Asogi is very extra. He said the only thing... Oh, I missed the line. He said the only thing he treasured more than the watch was his life. The victim had a habit of winding his watch once a day in the evening. In that case, he must have wound his watch that way the day before the murder as well.
Indeed, that is what it would mean.
And if that were true, then naturally, the watch shouldn't have needed to be wound again the day of the murder at 5 p.m.
Whoa, you're right! What's going on here?
What this means is that the victim, the day before the gunshot rang out in that little room, was already in a state where he wasn't able to wind his watch. You can't mean. What circumstances would be required for you to abandon a habit you never once in the course of 10 years forgotten? By the time the watch needed to be wound again, the victim had already died.
Order! Order! This is quite a shocking claim.
It's not shocking. It simply doesn't make sense. The night before, you say. If that were the case, there's no way Scotland Yard's coroner would have missed that. Well, regarding that, there's just one thing I'm curious about. And that's the fact that this autopsy report contains no record of the estimated time of death. You're right.
But don't forget how I collapsed from fear in that room.
What do you mean?
I mean, that's when I got the blood on me hand and smeared it on the floor.
You mean on the bulletin board, goddammit. Which means that the victim's blood wasn't dry yet.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was getting at.
But it's possible that the blood could have been sprinkled around afterwards. All you need to do is get your hands on some fresh blood and pour it over the victim's... Fresh blood doesn't grow on trees, you know?
Well, yeah, but...
But it wouldn't have needed to be human blood. Susato! We've already heard that the Yard doesn't possess the technology to distinguish human blood from other types.
It's currently being researched, but as of right now, it's impossible.
So then, if that blood had belonged to a chicken or something, then it would have been possible to fabricate the puddle of blood. However, there's no mistaking that it was 5 p.m. when the gunshot was fired at the crime scene. Can we really be sure about that? What? There's room for doubt in the time of death. In that case, there's also room for doubt in whether that gunshot was real. Look at that sass! You go, Naruhodō!
What are you getting at?
We heard it! Clear as day! A big bang coming right from that room!
Now listen here. I'll have you know that the peddler's ears are an important tool of the trade.
Right. The only thing you heard was a sound.
Eh? What do you mean, Defense?
If we're talking about the sound, then it would have been possible to make, it's possible to make it a sound. There's missing words here. If we're talking about a sound, then it would have been possible to make it without ever firing a gun. Okay. Yay, we got to the fireworks at last. Let me see. What's wrong? You keep staring at the fuse. Well, it's just that it's the 600 pence Venus special. I was just wondering how loud a sound it could make. Shall we light it and see? Huh? But she said it'd blow the courtroom in smithereens. That sure packed a punch, didn't it? It wasn't just a punch. It was almost like a real... Makes a sound like a gunshot. Susato! For example, the killer could have used these.
Those are the fireworks the witness was selling.
Hey, are you calling me a murderer? Yes.
This is the best these cheap little fireworks of mine are capable of.
However, if it were the 600 pence special version, made up of 100 of these, then as you've just heard, they make a wonderful gunshot. Are you trying to say that someone set those fireworks off at the crime scene? The people of Fresno Street heard a gunshot at 5 p.m., and it was likely a ploy to pin the crime on the defendant who was in the room at that time. But there was no third party at the crime scene at that time. Regardless of whether it was a gun or some fireworks, the only one who could have set them off was the defendant.
The selling point of my fireworks is that they go off as soon as you light them, you know? That sounds incredibly dangerous.
I'm about to get hit with some interruptions, so when that does happen, I'm going to stop and take my break then. You know, because we are hitting the 1 hour mark at this point, so might as well take that break. So when that happens. Since arriving in this country, I've learned about numerous useful inventions. Like, something known as a time bomb.
Bomb?
You can set it to go off at whatever time suits you, and blow up whatever you want. You might want to rephrase that, Naruhodō-sama, or you might end up causing an international incident.
Oh, no!
The important bit was the part about whatever time suits you. A timer. Yeah, that! A timer! There are traces indicating that the use of such an item at the crime scene. Traces of a setup which could have set off the gunshot automatically without the culprit being present.
In that case, the court will need the defense to present evidence. Evidence indicating the existence of a timer that could have set off the gunshot at the time of the murder. Candle holder?
One of the candles in this candle holder has had the end of it blown off.
That must have been blown off when it was hit by the bullet after it passed through the victim's body.
I don't think that's possible. Not possible. Why not? Because of the powder burns. The blown up candle has obvious traces of black gunpowder burns left on it.
Why, you're right, but there were indeed gunpowder burns left around the witness's bullet wound as well.
Yes, and we heard when those were pointed out that gunpowder burns are left when a gun is fired at point-blank range, a distance of only a few inches.
Oh.
In which case, the powder burns on the candle couldn't possibly have been left behind by the bullet. So it must have been the fireworks, huh?
What's going on here?
The fact that there were such clear powder burns on this candle would have to mean that there was almost no distance between the gunpowder explosion and the candle itself. In other words, the fireworks were tied to the candle. The murderer tied the fireworks around the candle in the candle holder. Then, the murderer left the scene of the crime. The candles continued to burn. And finally, the fuse on the fireworks was lit. Alright, I'm taking my break now because people are walking in and out. So, I want to say 5 minutes, but if it takes a little longer, then it's